And so you started this whole business, Turbans for Tots. What is that?
We make headbands for babies, bows, little scarves. We make matching ones for the moms too. But I actually started it when my first daughter was born, because when I went to the store, everything was like bright pink and sequins. And I like black, I like gray, and there was nothing that I could find that was not over the top feminine. So I knew how to sew a little bit for my grandma, and I just started making some of my own stuff. So that's how it started initially. Didn't actually plan for it to be a business, kind of just wanted to pay for my hobby. Like that was my initial goal, was to break even.
So, but when you started selling them, you did think, well, I'll sell some of these, or maybe someone said, why don't you sell?
Well, we were actually so poor.
How did that start? Like, how does that all?
Yeah. So
did you actually think I'll sew these and make a business at least enough to break even, or did someone say, oh, I'd like to have one of those, and it kind of clicked in your mind, well, maybe I could sell a few of these, or?
Well, before I had my child, my husband and I were both working full time. I was actually Banning's assistant at Jesus Culture.
From Jesus Culture.
Yeah, for 3 years. And then they moved away right when my kiddo was due. So we went from 2 full incomes to 1. So half of our income. So this little...
Adversity is the mother of invention kind of thing.
Yes. I was like, I actually can't afford this hobby. So at least if I could afford this hobby, that would be... So I think I actually started it. Someone gave me a $35 gift card to Joann's Fabric, because $35 was more than we had in our budget.
Exactly.
Yeah. So then I thought,
I remember those days.
Right? Oh my gosh. I thought if I could make even, or break even, or make up what I've sewn, that it would be like worth it. So I took some photos of my daughter in the products, because I was like, oh, if they could see how cute, maybe that'll help sell them. And the first month we did like $65, and I was excited, because I was like,
what did one of those things sell for, at least back then?
Back then, I think it was like $4 and $7 or $8.
Okay, so you sold 20 or 30 of them.
Totally, and I was like beyond excited, because that was double. Like I always tease that we've been profitable since the beginning, since I started on a $35 gift card. But yeah, so I sold. But then
where did you sell them at?
On Etsy. So
what's Etsy?
Etsy is a shop on it's almost like a
Craigslist kind of a thing, or?
It's more like an eBay for just handmade goods.
Oh,
so
okay.
A lot of different people can open their own shop, and it's really
never even heard of that.
Yeah,
That's
and it's
awesome.
super like reasonable. It's only like 20 cents per item.
I bet some of our viewers haven't. Say it again. It's Etsy.
Etsy. Yep. If you ETSY.
Okay, ETSY.
But everything on there is handmade. So I knew that. I was like, oh, at least people understand they're paying a little more for a bow.
More of a girl thing, because I've never heard of it.
It's definitely a girl thing. Weddings, babies. That's big.
It's a girl thing. Yeah. Absolutely a girl thing.
So, anyways, one of the pictures that I took of my daughter the first month, I put on Pinterest too, because I was like, well, let's just get it out there. And
I know what Pinterest is.
Okay, good. I was like, I might have to explain that one.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. And the first month, it kind of went low-level viral, so it was repinned. You can kind of track your statistics.
Exactly.
And it was repinned like 300,000 times. So I did 16.
Well, that's more than low-level.
I kind of think it's like awesome. 1 million to be like legit viral. So I was like,
that's a lot, especially when you're a stay-home mom kind of thing.
And kind of never intended it to be a business. So we went from $65. And the next month we did $1,200, and then we did $3,000, then we did $6,000 by May, because it was January. It was my first month open. So it was like, I tease that the first 2 years I was like pulled behind the cart, like because I hadn't set up a business plan, I didn't have systems. It just grew way faster and became more of a thing that I intended it to be. So
okay, and let's give them the end game right now. You have 17 employees.
16 employees. 16
employees. Mm-hmm. You're doing a significant amount of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year right now.
Yep.
And this is now a viable business, a viable, profitable, real business.
Yeah.
And how long has it been from the day you started, you sewed that first one to resell to today? How long has it been?
So we actually started like January 1st of 2014. So we've had 5 complete years, and we're going into our 6th year.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, it's crazy. It's been such a blessing, because it became so much bigger than I thought, and it's become a way for me to make income while staying home with my girls, which was really important to me. So it's really been a total godsend, because it was not on my radar at all.
How did you navigate that first year, you and Aaron? Like your not your first year of marriage, like your first year of business. Like, was it tough, or were you working all the time? What did it look like? You know?
I feel like I still have like a little bit of PTSD from the first year.
Did you have one child then?
I had one child, but I I also didn't want her to suffer because I was a first-time mom. So mom guilt is like a very real part of your motivation.
That baby would have been like an infant, like 5 years ago, right?
Right. She was literally like 4 months old.
Yeah,
5 months old.
I was trying to.
So
work
I
out
kind of
the
tease
math
that if
there.
you like to start a business, or if you want a newborn and to start a business, then you must hate sleep because I just was not sleeping at all. So I would put her to bed and I would just work. I'd work till like 4 a.m. I'd work to 5 a.m. and then get up with her whenever she got up because I didn't want her to feel like she was, I don't know, things that I probably.
Be absent mom,
yes,
right? You
exactly.
want to be a real mom and a real entrepreneur.
Yeah, and it was.
What was your husband? Was he like, no way, or was he like excited, or was he like, hey, I'm over here?
Probably a mixture of both, I would say. The first few months, it was excitement of like, wow, this is so much bigger.
It's actually working.
Yeah, totally. And then I think when the honeymoon phase of it wore off, and it means that my wife was just working all the time because we still needed the money or the profit that we were making, we were reinvesting to pay someone else to help me. Yeah. So even though we were making more, he felt that probably 6 months in really I remember having multiple conversations of him feeling lonely and where are you?
Something has to give, right?
Yes, totally. So, gosh.
Listen, man. I scheduled you in, honey. I got 9 minutes, and as soon as I finish this
Can we do this while I'm sewing? I think that's what he heard the most. He's like, can I sew while we talk? He's like,
exactly.
I have your undivided attention.
Yeah, lots of things you can't do while you're sewing.
Yeah. But I would say that one thing that really helped in the first year is that I knew that this wasn't the work-life balance I wanted. Yeah. So I knew that I was working towards getting decreasing my hours because the first 2 years I probably easily worked 70 hours a week because that's what needed to happen to make it go. And I kind of teased that we didn't have the money to invest, so I had to invest my time, and that was really time heavy the first 2 years. But I had my own internal world of wanting to not work this much, and then a lot of friend input saying hey, this isn't sustainable long term for you to do this. You need to make sure you have plans to work yourself less hours.
But there'll be a lot of people watching this video that they are young entrepreneurs, at least in their spirit, they want to build something, and I think this is really good what you just said right here. It's even if you have money, you want to start a business. I hear people all the time, they come because I was in business so many years, and they're like, I want to start a business, I want to make a lot of money. It's bad motive, bad motive.
Yep.
It's money is the fruit of it, but it's not the root of starting a business, right?
Yeah.
And it's I don't want to work for someone, I want more freedom. Tell them how much more freedom you got, right?
Yep, totally. It's funny because I'll have people say I want to get rich quick scheme you, Jenna, and I'm like, what part of that was quick? Or are we really even rich? I don't think so. But I think a lot of people underestimate the hard work that really goes into it, especially in the formative years. The goal is, to make it more passive income and not be the center pin of everything. But I don't think you can get away from it the first couple of years, especially if you're going to form a culture in your company that you are proud of. I think if you hire out in the beginning years, I don't know that you could get that culture that you would really feel confident putting your name behind.
That's really good. Yeah, you're working every aspect of your business, so you know how you want it done before you actually hired it out. So that's a big piece of it right there.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now you have a successful marriage. I know because I know all your friends or friends of mine or relatives of mine, and so you have now 5 years doing several $100,000 a year, and you've got 16 employees, which we all know employees can be challenging. How are you balancing now? How are you balancing marriage, kids, business, your relationship with the Lord, all those things that are you gotta find time for them all week long.
Yeah, I think I'm someone that's highly motivated to not let, I like to have fun myself, but then I also, like I said, I wasn't sleeping a lot because I wanted my daughter to still get part of me, and then wanting my husband to get part of me, and then eventually my friends were like, hey, we haven't seen you in months. So realizing scaling back, and what does that look like? That means I'm gonna have to hire someone to do some of the jobs that I'm doing because I literally can't do all of this. There's only 24 hours in the day, and I have to give something away if these relationships are important to me. So I think it's been a process, and it's kind of interesting, but motherhood, I would say, actually, as I've had my second child, I had to scale back and hire. That was the first time I hired someone who wasn't just manufacturing a product. I hired an office manager to oversee shipping more. I realized the areas that were consuming most of my time and wanted to give them away, but it's hard because it's your profit. So you're like, if I'm paying her to do it, that's not going in our bank account, you know. But realizing like I wouldn't get the season back with my second daughter if I just continue. Like I was like, okay, if I'm still working 50 hours, I'm going to miss out on a large part of her life that I can never get back. So it was highly motivating. Actually, at that point, I was in the final rounds of Shark Tank. It's a show where you pitch. Yeah. I went through like 6 months, 12. I made it through 12 rounds. And then when we were talking about when the episode would air, we realized it would be like 2 or 3 months after I gave birth. And I had an honest conversation with the Lord. I had a couple friends who had done it and they grew like, I think like 1,000%. It was absurd. You know, like after their season aired, they grew so much. But
like Amazon.
Oh gosh, level. Yeah.
2.0 right here.
So I just kind of realized like that would happen months after I had my second child, and realizing like I would probably I would be lost in that and not be present for her first year of her life.
What do you really want?
Exactly. Right? And I kind of felt like the Lord challenged me to have the faith that even if I don't grow 1,000% a year, that 30 or 40% would be more manageable for our family and better for our family.
Yeah, 30% is even, you know, for maybe people that don't know much about business, that is a staggering growth rate still.
I didn't know that. Yeah, we've done about 35%. This year we did 45%. But it was right, and it's enough that we can have the systems and maintain our quality as we've grown rather than like drowning in orders.